You're listening to the Vanadium Registry. In days of yore, the creatures of contradiction were hard to discern from among the masses, for they hid well behind veneers of normalcy. But as word spread of their existence and devastating powers, so did the desire to best them. For this, voyagers from across the realm gathered together to slay them. But the creatures endured unmatched. The voyagers were gravely defeated, and the realm remained in fear. However, the days of unrest ended, as a bitter winter began not during its season, and with it arrived a new people who also commanded great and strange powers. But unlike the beasts that haunted the realm, the strangers didn't hide, but instead appealed to the people. By offering themselves as protectors, the strangers sought the creatures that were so feared by them all. This time, a great battle was waged, and by the strangers' might, the battle was won. The creatures once dreaded were vanquished. Some were slain, while others became servants undone, ruined, and enchained to the stranger's every command. And now, Recollection Report 5. The Mercies of a Maleficent Messenger. I listened quietly as Mama explained why she wouldn't allow me to come with her to her next meeting. Tempted to interject with my objections, I pressed my lips into a thin line and restlessly danced a coin across my knuckles. Rodolfo, the communication with the noble has, frankly, grown complicated. Did something happen? I asked. Complicated is not a word my mother often uses in her business. No, nothing's happened. It's just that the noble's ambassador has changed his tone towards us. But I can complete the commission by the deadline. You shouldn't risk asking for an extension, especially without me there. It's my failure, you. She cut me off by shushing me and cradling my face. You never fail, she assured me. Mama, I don't have a good feeling about this. My powers can't reach you ever thereafter. I don't know. This is all too strange, even for our clients. I say, taking a breath before confessing my real fear. I don't think the ambassador agreed to this meeting to negotiate an extension. Unfazed by my words, Mama didn't answer, but instead simply gazed at me. You've always been like this. She gently giggled to herself while getting emotional. When I married your papa, you had the same eyes, so full of worry and care. The same ears, always listening for anyone who might need your help. The same nose, she continued, playfully grabbing my nose between her two fingers. I laughed nostalgically as faint memories of our first meeting came to mind. My eyelashes fluttered as I resisted a wave of emotions and held back tears of my own. You've grown up so much. But I am still your mother, she said, regaining her usually strong composure. And I don't have a good feeling about this either. And that is why you are not coming. ¿Entiendes? She asked, while searching my eyes for compliance. But I don't answer, and try to look away. No. She stopped me, focusing my face back to hers. Answer me. Do you understand? See, Mama. As I watched Mama leave with her guards, it felt like I wouldn't see her again. I tried denying the glances that felt like wordless goodbyes, the hug that felt like our last, and the emptiness forming in my heart that had already begun to mourn her. I couldn't sit by and do nothing. So, at the last minute, I went against her wishes. Like a shadow, suddenly touched by sunlight, I disappeared from my surroundings, not by blending in with my environment, but by being erased from it. In this state, I navigated unseen and tracked Mama's path silently, from a hunter's distance. It didn't take long until I arrived at the old abandoned theater. Based on the trail, I could tell that I had arrived not long after Mama had entered the building. Once inside, I remained unseen and rested near the floor between a line of seats, close enough to intervene if something goes wrong, but far enough not to be sensed by the ambassador. After a few minutes, flecks of gold peeled out of thin air until it formed a magnificent corridor where 3 people stepped out of. 1 man, 2 women, each unassuming in appearance except the ornate veils that they wore and the stench of darkness that they emitted. As according to noble decree, Mama gave a respectful bend from the chest, while her guards gave a more formal bow at the hip. "Do you have the results?" asked the man, as he stepped forward from among the 2 women, clearly not wanting to waste time on courtliness. So that's the noble's ambassador, I thought, finally putting a face to the foulest of the stenches. "We're making progress, but we will need more time, preferably an extra month." The man responded with a heavy silence, and an inscrutable glare that could be felt even from behind the embellished material. "I understand that this isn't ideal, but your person of interest seems to be very special," Mama said, cushioning her suspicion as a compliment. "We're only asking for a few extra weeks. I believe that's fair with all things considered." "Show me what you found so far." The man finally spoke. "Like I said, it wasn't much." "I know what you said." He cut her off. "You said that you made some progress." "Show it to me." "Admittedly, it is very little. I didn't think it was worth bringing." "What's the name of our focus?" Mama missed a beat and didn't answer immediately. "You only gave us a piece of fabric," she defended as a guard handed the cloth to her. Even masked, the man could barely hide his enraged disgust as my mother carelessly handled the fabric. "You can't possibly expect us to—" "You're lying to me." "Excuse me?" "You've made no progress. You didn't find anything. You don't even have a name." "You've wasted my time," the man surmises, as a detective deduces a culprit. "Your time? Who do you think you are? You don't own your time, and this is not your focus. You are a filthy messenger, serving at beck and call of some noble. Who are you to ridicule me?" Mama's insults echoed throughout the theater, stinging in even my ears. The man fell into silence once again, but this time a slow smile graced his face, as if he was pleased by her words. A series of scents caught my attention. Ash, blood, old wallpaper, and someone else. Something else. A presence radiating the murkiest darkness that I've ever smelt. A creature that has both feathers and scales. Looking around, I didn't see the source of any of the odors. But I learned a long time ago to trust the foreknowledge smelt in vats of fumes. Moving towards Mama, I began preparing for a hazardous escape. "I agree to your extension," the ambassador said, surprising everyone but the 2 women standing behind him. "Well, I'm glad we've come to this agreement," Mama said, shocked that her insults seemed to have worked. "But give me back the fabric. My only stipulation is that you complete the commission without its help." That's fair," Mama agreed, as she handed him back the small cut of cloth. For a moment, the man seemed to have forgotten the meeting entirely, as he lovingly traced the cloth's exposed seams and caressed the frayed thread sticking out along the fabric's edges. "You may leave," he said, snapping out of his trance. "Yes, of course," Ma answered, pretending not to have noticed his fixation on the material as I did. As I watched Mama and her guards exit the center of the theater, I was torn between feelings of relief from the meeting's unusual yet peaceful conclusion, and the cocktail of scents that grew stronger and stronger from before. Ah, one more thing, the man began, lifting a finger in the air as if he'd just remembered something. I'm not the messenger. I'm the message. Removing his veil, the ambassador's simple appearance washed away as an ethereal explosion shook the entire theater. I recovered in enough time to see Mama frozen in fear, as she stood before a creature shrouded by streams of auroral light, but large enough for me to see its shadowy form threatened behind its impure curtains. "You're noble," she said in disbelief.
"In the flesh."
The noble growled, sarcastically, as he rode an unforgiving path of fire that cut through the celestial fog. I raced to Mama before the flames washed over her. But I was too late. With our fingertips barely touching, we were only able to make eye contact as she was taken away by the wave of fire, while I was thrown by its heat to the opposite side of the theater. Dazed, I sat up among seats that were melted, lit to flame and partially charred. The theater looked unrecognizable as the fire continued its destruction. It began consuming its walls, stage, and ceiling. The stench of blood and ash. It was nauseating, and quickly gave me a sober view of my surroundings. Through choking gasps, I called for Mama, then for the guards, but I could only hear muted wails and cries between the high-pitched ringing in my ears. Undeterred, I began desperately shoveling through the surrounding gravel, splintered wood, and stiff wallpaper, hoping to find any trace of Mama amongst the debris. After a few minutes, my search slowed to a halt, as sounds of thick, beating wings grew closer behind me. Instinctively, I grabbed at my heart, as I felt the metallic rumbling of a reptilian growl resonate in my chest. This pressure was overwhelming, and brought attention to my heart's attempts to match the stabbing rhythms. Then I smelled it. The smell of feathers and scales. Slowly, I turned to face the source of the guttural noises. Although through hazed vision, I was met with a creature inches from my own face, with only a thin layer of smoke and fire separating me from its pointed nose. I now see what froze Mama in fear, as I too watched its nostrils flare and huff smoke. Its throat still glowing red, its teeth still dripping liquid embers. I closed my eyes and accepted whatever was to come next. But nothing did. The creature simply stared at me, like it was studying me. Without warning, it breathed the heatless breath that carved a passage to the charred destruction, and slowly disappeared behind the growing flames. At the end of the path, there was a seared corner. In the corner, there were scattered chairs. Across the fallen chairs lay Mama. After returning home, I wasn't given time to recover, much less time to come to terms with my loss, because Mama's clients didn't stop their commissions. Not even for her. But I grew tired. I grew tired of the amount of times that I had to explain how I was the sole survivor of a meeting that I was never supposed to attend. I was tired of the bouquets of black flowers Mama's associates kept sending. I was tired of its repulsive smell that filled my home. The way it was often followed by comments about my sickly appearance, insinuations of my competency to lead Mama's affairs. Every day, I followed trails left by Mama over the years. But when I followed them, I didn't find her. I found her books, left unread. Her room untouched and empty. Her clothes still folded and crisp. Her conversations left unfinished. And her plated breakfast still clean and bare. I miss Mama. I accidentally said out loud, catching the attention of Mama's second-in-command, who'd come over to help me organize Mama's assets. What was that, Rodolfo? She asked, while putting away another file in Mama's drawer. Oh, nothing, Juana. When are the clients coming? I changed the subject. Actually, they've been waiting for you for a few minutes now. I didn't want to break your concentration, she said, motioning to the files in my hand. Thank you. I can see them now. I sighed, grateful for her patience. Please, come in. This is Rodolfo. Yona pointed me out to the group of soldiers entering my office. Some wheeled in a metal box. Others pointed guns at me. One soldier held a silver collar in a tight fist, while Yona held a bouquet of black flowers.
The Vanadium Registry is a Studio Imbe production. This show is written and performed by Asia Ansley. Original soundtrack, mixing, and video editing are also by Asia Ansley. Likewise, all artwork and cover art are by Asia Ansley. Learn more about the Vanadium Registry and view the series at our website, imbe.studio. The Vanadium Registry is a listener-supported production. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider supporting us on Buy Me a Coffee and by sharing our work. Thank you.